Blasting my son. Hey, y'all. Hey. Welcome to Divine Masculine Mondays. Hey, y'all. Hey. But seriously, I got a message for y'all. So, I am doing Divine Feminine Fridays, and I decided to do Divine Masculine Mondays for you guys. Because God has been sharing some things with me. Okay? So, who am I? I am Regal Essence, Queen TV, Queen TV After Dark. What is it? I'm your ray of sunshine in the afternoon time, and I am Stories of the Laid Back Mom. So, Becoming a Laid Back Mom is my travel vlog. So, hey guys, hey y'all. So, I came to talk to my kings today, right? So, I am speaking from my own personal experience. I am speaking from my experience as a mental health provider. And I am also speaking from downloads that God has given me. Okay. So I wanted to come today and talk to you guys about, and you guys are going to see me every Monday for the month of February. But I wanted to talk to my men, right? Originally, when I started off my vlogging and lives and all of that kind of stuff, like, I thought I was going to be called to women because I always wanted to have a transitional housing program, right? So I always thought that I would work with women and children. But when I got started, God actually gave me a very big burden for the men, right? Because I realized that women tend to be men's greatest weakness, right? And oftentimes, from what I've seen, is women can also be a great cause of men forfeiting their destiny, right? And I believe that there are a bunch of amazing men who are called to live a more divine life, that are called to live a high vibrational life, who are called to have pretty women. It's like one woman, to have pretty wives, and basically live the life of their dreams, right? Being able to manifest what it is that they want into the 3D, right? Being able to be with someone that is going to fulfill them, right? Because the Bible says that it's not good that man should be alone, right? So, I am coming to speak to you guys, not to anyone in particular, because I've had my associates say, oh, do you think that you did that, right? So, men don't like to listen if they feel like they're being mothered or somebody's trying to be their mom. So, I'm not here to be anybody's mom. She is completely single. As a matter of fact, in 7 days, she will be celibate for a year. Okay? So, I'm not coming to speak to anyone in particular, but some of my motivations come from the fact that I have run across some very divine men. Although their behavior was not divine at the time that I encountered them, but I still know that they have a call on their lives, right? So I am coming to speak very honestly and very candidly about some of the things that happens to our men, okay? I'm not bashing the women, but I'm going to be very, very honest, because I feel like women a lot of times are a man's downfall, right? We can take it all the way back to the Garden of Eden, right? Who fed Adam the apple? Mother freaking Eve, right? So, not to bash the women, because women, if you are working on yourselves and you are doing the work and you're healing and all of that stuff, then you are a divine feminine. You should embody the goddess energy, right? But today I'm here for my men, right? And a lot of what I do is geared towards the men. Men tend to be more 3D based. They're more concrete thinkers. Women tend to be a little bit more spiritual. Naturally, they're a little bit more spiritual. So when it comes to getting out of the 3D matrix, which basically that's the best way to explain it, right? So at some point we have to, those of us that are chosen, those of us that are divine, right? Those of us that are called to live a life of divinity, regardless to how it is that we were born, raised, what it is that we went through, whatever choices that we made in life, God stamped us, right? We have a stamp on our head, and unless we fall victim to the dark side or doing things where you are actually working for the dark versus the light, you are called. Some people make mistakes and they make decisions and things of that nature, and that kind of like changes the course of their lives, right? So I am here to help you raise your vibration so that you are able to easily or more easily, or you're more readily available to step out of the 3D matrix and in turn step into a more high vibrational life where you're able to manifest the things that you want, manifest financially, you're able to manifest the relationships that you want, you are able to manifest the career that God has called you to, you're able to utilize your gifts and your talents that God has given you in a high vibrational way. Okay? So, what I've come to realize is a lot of times those of us that are called, we're star seeds, we're chosen ones, we are oftentimes born into a family that is very low vibrational, right? And what we fail to realize is that we chose certain things. We have soul contracts, right? So we have chosen certain things to go through in life to elevate our soul, right? But oftentimes without the right direction, without the right voices of reason, we can get stuck in the 3D matrix, right? So we're born. Before we get here, we agree to certain soul contracts. The things that we go through are set in place and set in motion to help our souls evolve, right? But what I realize is that a lot of times, right when men are at that point where they're about to switch over into a more high vibrational life or step into their divine path, women are set in your way to become an obstacle, right? And oftentimes men are attached, these same men are attached to low vibrational women. They were raised by low vibrational women. I don't want to bash the moms, but I gotta say what God told me to say, okay? So oftentimes you are born into a family that's low vibrational. You have experienced abuse of some sort, either sexual abuse or physical abuse. Oftentimes you were introduced to sex at a young age. There were things that happened that were inappropriate. Your boundaries were violated. And then in turn, you have been, as an adult, you become tied to certain addictions, be it sexual addictions, be it certain types of addictive ways of thinking, right? Certain ways of handling things and operating in life that keeps you vibrating at a lower vibration than you need to vibrate in order to become the high vibrational divine being that God has actually created you to be, and that you actually agreed to be before incarnating onto this earth. Okay, so what happens is a lot of times we are raised by low vibrational women. We have low vibrational women in our families, be it our aunties, our moms, or whatever the case may be, right? So we're raised by these types of women, and then we become of age, and then we start to date these types of women, right? So what I realize is that a lot of times men feel as though women are this, that, or the other, and they go throughout their lives feeling as though they have to operate in a certain way in order to be able to, like, some men feel like, you know, women make the world go round, you know what I mean? Like, women get their way, women use their sexuality and things of that nature in order to be able to get ahead, right? And that is very true for certain women. Now, divine feminines, they operate differently, right? And everybody isn't born divine, right? So, well, they are born divine. However, at some point in your life, you have to make a decision that I'm going to take a more divine path versus a more low vibrational path, right? When we stay low vibrational, we become subjected to low vibrational ways of living, being, and decision making, and it also causes us to get stuck in the 3D matrix, right? What does that look like? The 3D matrix is focused on things that are of a 3D nature: cars, homes, money, clout, things of that nature, right? But the same things that you can obtain living a very 3D based lifestyle can also be obtained living a very high vibrational lifestyle, and they can also be obtained whenever you choose your more divine path, right? However, the divine path doesn't look as sparkly and profitable as a more 3D existence. But that's the trick, right? So those of you that know the word of God know that when Jesus was in the wilderness for 40 days and he was fasting, at the end of his fast, the devil came along and he offered him all of these things if he would bow down to him, right? But that was a test. Jesus passed the test because he told him no. He didn't agree to what it was that Satan was offering him, right? Because he realized that all of those things belong to my Father already. And if I'm his son, then I have access to these things, and I don't have to bow down to you, basically, right? And a lot of times men get caught up in secret societies, being associated or attached to certain women that they feel can afford them certain things, right? And basically, I'm here to enlighten you guys, remind you guys, and encourage you guys that you don't have to take that path. And without taking that path, you can still have the things that it is that you want. You can have the car, you can have the house, you can have the woman of your dreams, right? But the trick of the enemy is to make you believe that you have to take another route in order to get what it is that you want. And that simply is not the truth, right? So me, myself, as a divine feminine, I'm here to be an example of a different type of woman, right? Because oftentimes, even us as women, what we find when we go through our spiritual awakening is that we've been attached to very narcissistic people, right? What are narcissists? Like, narcissists are people that when they were raised without a healthy sense of self. Because they were raised without a healthy sense of self, they're not sure who it is that they are. So they utilize those around them, those that are closest to them, those that they choose to basically leech energy from in order to establish their identity, right? So those types of people are very codependent. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman, they're very codependent because they need your energy. They become very codependent on your energy, right? So what I've been enlightened to is the fact that a lot of men are abused in their childhood, attached to narcissistic women in their childhood, and then the abuse continues even into their adulthood, right? However, it's not manly or cool to admit that you've been abused, right? Most men are not speaking out on the fact that they are in abusive relationships. However, they are, because they in turn, being raised by narcissistic women, they in turn choose narcissistic women even in their adulthood, right? And what that looks like is a woman that is very codependent, very materialistic. The relationship is very up and down. It's good one day and then it's crazy the next. And they do a lot of love bombing, buying gifts, and just basically proving to you how beneficial the relationship is. They make you feel as if you need them in order to get to where it is that you're trying to go in life, right? But I'm here to let you guys know that you can be in relationships that are healthy and beneficial to you, as well as healing, without having to be tied to someone that one day they make you feel great and then the next day they're tearing down your self-esteem. They keep you in a fight or flight mode. They keep you defensive and things of that nature, according to the things that they do, right? They're always putting you in situations where you're feeling like you're in danger. They're putting you in situations where you feel as if you have to defend yourself. They're putting you in situations that cause, later on, they cause blame and shame, right? What does that look like? Simple example, right? Some men get in relationships with women that will basically allow them to kind of like do whatever it is that they want to do in the relationship, right? Why is that? Because if you are a man and you're in a relationship with a woman that's going to let you do whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you're big enough and bad enough to do, what you going to do? You're going to do any and everything that you big enough and bad enough to do. But a lot of times with that comes some form of guilt, some form of shame or blame, because whenever they get mad at you, whenever they get upset with you, they're going to throw things in your face, right? Whatever you're out there doing, whatever it is that you're big enough and bad enough to do, right? Basically, living according to your addictions, right? Sometimes we get into situations that we get into situations that aren't the best for us, right? These types of women, they use manipulation, right? And oftentimes what I'm realizing is, if you are you don't even have to be very spiritual, but if you have a call on your life from God, if you have a call on your life from God, oftentimes there's going to be a woman that is attached to you that is a high priestess of the dark side, right? Her job is to ensure that you don't reach your highest state of divinity, right? So she will allow you to do what it is that you want to do. She will engage in your addictions with you. She will give you that okay to be able to live out your addictions, right? What does that do? That keeps you in a low vibrational state, right? Oftentimes they are control freaks, whether or not they come off very nice and sweet and demure at the beginning. You will realize, if you're honest with yourself, you will realize that they're actually very controlling, right? So it's like, I feel like, yeah, this is great. I can do whatever I want. I can have as many bitches as I want. I can do threesomes. I can do sex parties. I can do drugs. I can, live out my sexual addictions and all of those things, right? But with that, you're staying very low vibrational, right? They also are heavily involved in spell work. So what men will realize, if they're honest with themselves, they will realize that they have become entangled in a web of deceit, lies, danger, and very low vibrational behaviors, right? With that, that is also stagnating your walk, right? It's stagnating your journey to get on your more divine path. But because we are living out of our ego, and because we're living out of a space of basically catering to our flesh, right? It allows it, oftentimes people feel as though like this is the life, you know what I'm saying, like this is the life, and this is what I want. Like, why have one woman when I can have three? Why have one woman when I can have 10? Well, because having those 3 to 10 different women, oftentimes they're not allowing you to get on your path, right? And I realized that oftentimes the greatest men of God are attached to very high priestesses, right? And whenever they are going out and fulfilling their fleshly desires, they're actually just getting involved with even more low vibrational women, if you're honest, right? So the high priestess is almost like a handler, right? What does a handler do? A handler trains animals, right? So it's like you think that, you're doing whatever it is that you want to do, and you think that you're in control, but really she's in control because she's your handler, right? Oftentimes she's the one that you deal with and you mess with, but like she's never on the scene. Like nobody ever sees her. Like she's fine with kind of like playing the role behind the scenes, but she's still your handler. So whenever it is that you're going out and you're doing what it is that you want to do, you don't realize that she's also connecting you to other low vibrational women that are going to stagnate you, right? So we have to get to a point where we make a decision and we say, you know what? I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to live a life where I'm catering to all of my darkest addictions, where although this seems great and wonderful, I'm really not elevating, right? They make it seem as if, there's more success there. I mentioned secret societies and things of that nature. Those of us that are divine and chosen, we have to be very, very careful whenever we start to associate ourselves with groups, because the reality is oftentimes we are here to kind of be like the outcast. How do you know that you're divine? You've always been a little different, right? From the time that you were little, from the time that you were young, you were always a little different. You never really fit in with the group. You were ostracized, you were bullied, like all of those things, right? So I'm here to talk about that shit. I'm here to be a light in the dark, because these are not things that men find it easy to be able to talk about, right? Our ego is there to protect us in certain situations, right? But when we stay low vibrational, we live our lives very much in accordance with our ego. But that ego, that destruction of your ego is what it's going to take in order for you to be able to truly live out your more divine path. But if you're tied to people, women, and groups that cause you to always be in your ego, always being defensive, always needing to protect yourself, always arguing and fighting and beefing and all of those kind of things, it requires you, it doesn't really require you, but it causes you to live within your ego self, right? And your ego has to be destroyed in order for you to be humble enough to be moldable and malleable for God to be able to do what it is that he needs to do with you so that you can get on your divine path, right? Oftentimes we go through a spiritual awakening, but in the midst of that spiritual awakening, we go through a dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is when God brings up a lot of those hurts, pains, traumas, things like that that happen to us, and he helps us sort through them. He helps us heal through them, right? He shows us that we are enough, right? He shows us that no matter what it is that we went through, no matter how bad it was, no matter what decisions that we made, he still has called us to be his divine chosen people. Your story actually is what makes you, what's the word I want to use? Your story is what qualifies you. That's what qualifies you for that path, right? But we get it twisted and we think that the things that we went through is what disqualifies us. But that's the trick. It actually qualifies you, right? Because a part of your divine path is showing other divine people why it is that you are. Hold on, my phone's about to die. Let me see. I gotta do something. Hold on. Oh my God. Okay, so my phone is about to die. So I gotta talk fast, y'all. So, like I was saying, the things that we have gone through have actually qualified us for our more divine path, right? So, I'm here to encourage you guys that you are worthy, you are chosen, and I want to encourage you guys to do your healing work, right? I want to encourage you guys that whatever it is that you desire, God has that for you, but he's requiring you to take the high road, right? So whatever woman it is that you want, whatever lifestyle it is that you want, God has that for you, but he's calling you to a place where you utilize those things for his glory, okay? So that's what I got for y'all. I gotta go because my phone is about to die. I will be back next Monday because we're going to do Divine Masculine Mondays every Monday in the month of February, right? So I want to encourage you guys to make the hard decisions. I want to encourage you guys to not be afraid to walk away from the people, places, and things that keep you in a low vibrational state. I want to encourage you guys that everything that you want and desire is actually found in God, right? In God, you don't have to take certain losses. You don't have to live a certain way. You don't have to be constantly in fight or flight. You don't have to constantly defend yourself. And whoever it is that God sends to you, she's going to understand you. She's going to be okay with your past. You want to be honest, though. But she's going to be okay with your past. So don't allow these low vibrational women to make you feel as though you're unworthy or make you feel as though nobody will ever understand you. Nobody will ever be able to accept you. Because whoever it is that God sends to you, for you, she's going to love you for you. She's going to understand your story. She's not going to judge you, and she's going to love you, right? And together, you guys will create the life that it is that you want, right? And long as you keep God at the center, he gave you gifts for you to utilize. So he's not asking you to change who it is that you are. He's asking you to remember your heart. He's asking you to remember the type of heart that he put in you. And he's asking you to live in your truth, and that is going to make you divine and high vibrational. And we know that high vibrational people have no problem at all manifesting. So don't let anybody fool you into thinking that you need them, you need their organization, you need to be tied to certain people. The only person you need to be tied to is God. And within God, he's going to give you everything that you desire. I love you guys. If you're watching this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button so you know whenever I post a video, and I will see you guys next Monday. Peace.